Welcome to the most risky of rating videos, ladies and gentlemen. Batman Arkham Asylum. This was just kind of a proxy between Cold Steels 3 and 4, and thus, that's kind of what this is. So now, while the Danny Elfman Batman theme plays, which will probably get me copyrighted to hell and back, let us begin. So, as ever, 3 sessions, no cheats, 8 plus 38, 8 was the final score on the story axis, which seems a little pretty low, especially coming from me. But at the same time, that actually fits. So, here we are. Voice acting got a triple positive. Positive in general, with two full 3 positives going to Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and the Joker, respectively. Because the voice acting in here really is great, and Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill really deserve special mention. Arlene Zorkin, in her final role as Harley Quinn, which is pretty sad, especially with how much I don't want to get into Tara Strong right now, like at all, ever, because good lord, or talk about the most overhyped and over-celebrated voice actress of all time. Everybody keeps saying she's so good. No, she's not. Like, oh my god, what the hell are you on about? So, so, humor. Yeah, Arkham Asylum actually made me laugh. Bit. Which is mostly from the Joker, and I have no idea what that says about me. Hey. Let's get the generic ones out of the way. Good brickwork, good sprite work, good visual storytelling, good doodad usage, good banter, good NPC chatter, good gameplay story integration, good use of atmosphere, good animations, good pacing, and good visual continuity. And I don't have this on random. I have the music on random. Oops. But regardless, so good use of the theme of insanity and evil, and the fine line, not only of sanity, but with the spirit of Arkham stuff, the fine line between good and evil. Good use of lighting. There's a lot of good use of lighting throughout, which is like the one thing that the Trail series has been lacking. One of the few things Trails has been lacking in its presentation. Batman as a character, even with the few scenes, even in the first few scenes, shows why he's known as the world's greatest detective. And that competence just continues on throughout the entire game. He always feels like he's in control, in other words, and that is good. Joker, well characterized. It feels like they're just kind of pulling from the characterization from other sources, but hey, they're actually making good use of Joker and Harley Quinn, so that's worthy of positives. Scarecrow is also well characterized, which shows off just how evil he is, and that is boosted by the performance of the legendary Jeffrey Combs, who, fun fact, actually voiced the character in the animated series, specifically during the new Batman Adventures. Pretty good. Jeffrey Combs is just really good at playing villains, funny enough. Officer Cash, great side character. Spirit of Arkham as a side quest. Yes, that's cool. The interview tapes were full through positives, as I really like those as a nice deep dive into the characters because it's understandable. You've only got so much runtime. You don't really have time to give full flushed out character arcs to each of these characters, so the interview tapes are kind of the substitute for that. The intro, which I end when you exit intensive treatment for the first time, is, in my opinion, well done. The first Scarecrow section is great. The second Scarecrow section is also good, and the game over scenes. I didn't give the third one? Let's fix this injustice, shall we? We'll do it live. There we go. So there we go. And then, like I said, the game over sequences. I only had one gameplay negative, or story negative, excuse me, and that's the use of Bane. I don't know what it is, but something about the way the Bane is used in this game bugs me. Venom is the basis of Titan, and honestly that makes it so you would think he'd have more to do with the plots, but nope, he's just there. So that's it for story. Let's move on to the gameplay, which scored a plus 24. The free-flow combat, 2 positives for it. Well, it's not the most refined that we will ever get in the entire thing, that honor going to City, in my opinion. It's still really good, even from the beginning. The upgrades providing a decent power progression curve, viscerality, because even from the get-go I feel damn powerful, and the punches kind of land with this punch, no pun intended, but like with an impact that just kind of feels good, Map is decent. Combat animations have a really nice punch to them. Detective mode as a gameplay feature is a triple positive. I know some people say that it's so abusable, but it is too useful not to give it massive praise, Good puzzle design throughout, because it feels like the puzzles are not brain dead or aggravatingly hard. They kind of have a nice sweet. They kind of get to the sweet spot, right? They managed to get the sweet spot, right? So that's good. There's some tight level design on display, some good terrain design for how you move through the terrain and take on the bad guys, especially during the Predator sequences. Good visual distinction, so I'm never like, where the hell am I at any given point? I do get turned around a little bit. There is a couple of sections that are like, that's why there's only one visual distinction positive. But for the most part, I don't get lost in this game. And that's me, Mr. Terabad Sense of Direction, so. The stealth sections are full 3 positives. I love the Predator gameplay. It's amazing. I also like the stealth options. Options being usable in non-stealth sections. Good enough. There's some good info in game. There's the gameplay story integration positive from earlier. Decent tutorials that are good and informative. Decent tutorialization through the gameplay. See, tutorials... There's some good tutorials. There's good tutorials, and then there's tutorialization, where you can kind of learn tricks as you go through the level design. And this game has both, so props there. Camera Imra is, for the most part, good. And doesn't feel like it's drunk sometimes. Gameplay-wise, I gave the intro a triple positive. On the story axis, it's good. It's a good intro. The gameplay, it really feels dynamic. It really gives you a good taste of what you're in for. So that's good. The exp meaning healing mechanic. If you've been paying attention to if you go back and watch my rating videos for the Trail series specifically, you know I'm a big fan of when you level up, you get you get to full health. Well, here, imagine if X, like let's say you gain 300 experience, and that translates into 300 HP getting restored. That's what this game does, and it's actually a really good feature, and I really enjoy it. The Scarecrow sequences, from a gameplay perspective, are really nice. There's good gameplay pacing, good enemy design, good encounter design, because again, the enemies feel designed to where there's some decent. The escalation in the mooks actually makes a lot of sense, and each encounter which is essentially each group of thugs in a room, is actually also well designed, in my opinion. There's some good animations, even in terms of the gameplay. Batman's arsenal is good kit, in my opinion. Good usage of checkpoints means you're never thrown back way too far for failing, so that's good. I had a bit of a tough call on this one, but I did ultimately decide, yes, I do want to say that I would replay this game. Which is exactly what the first positive is supposed to be, right? It's funny because a lot of games just have never really gotten more than one replayability positive. And I feel like I should probably up that at some point. But it feels like giving a plus for New Game Plus and a plus for replayability almost feels like that would be cheating, right? To give multiple replay pluses. Also, this game doesn't have New Game Plus, so that's not too great. Also, expect Arkham City to get a negative for its New Game Plus, because its New Game Plus is just up the difficulty and then play the game again, basically. Not great. Speaking of negatives, we've got 9 to talk about. First of all, the first Titan Thug. This is when Joker escapes Batman on one of those cells, and he's like, "I'll give you this one for free. Knock me off. End this once and for all." Oh, and then Batman hesitates, and Joker's just like, "Ah, you're getting too predictable, Bats." I don't know. That scene, I almost feel like I should have given that. Thinking about that scene, I should have given a negative to that, because it just feels too obvious. Of course, Batman's not going to just off the Joker. He'll hate himself for it, but because again, he's scared of the abyss. Yes. If he takes one life, what stops it? If he kills the Joker, what stops him from killing Killer Croc? Look. Poison Ivy. Penguin. Two-Face. See the problem? So, yeah. I hate dealing with the lunatics. They are easily the worst enemies in the game. They're the ones that if their script is to just run up to you, and if they get on you, you have to mash the button to throw them off. You either counter them or you lose a crap ton of health, and I really hate dealing with them, and I feel like they're not fun to deal with, because they are literally just triangle, hold the trigger, press triangle, done. And they're not interesting to fight, in my opinion. So, triple negative for practically making me throw on the goddamn brakes and coming out of nowhere half the time. I hate the stun rod mooks. They're irritating because you have to literally get behind them and deal with them. Ivy's pods. It's after she is given Titan by Joker. I hate dealing with them. They're literally an annoying obstacle, and you either deal with and dealing with them usually results in you taking damage. You literally have to avoid the pods if you're going for a 0 damage playthrough, and I feel that's crap. Then there's Croc's Lair, which, okay, admittedly I wasn't going to give Croc's Lair a negative going in, but yeah, I had to concede that it's not a very good bit. The binary difficulty honestly does not bother me, nor does the pace, where you have to move slowly or Croc eats you. That doesn't bug me. It doesn't bug me. However, the hit detection on Croc kind of sucks, and that's what warrants the negative. I can deal with it, but again, I feel the hit detection is a little too biased. If he's too far away, you won't hit. If he's too close, you're dead. Not great. I hate the water pump section. I don't know what it is about it, but go deal with the pumps, with the Titan infused water pumps, and then deal with an annoying elevator section. Ugh. And last but not least, the final battle against Titan Joker. Okay. This is where I have to eat my crow, because that sound okay. Considering I'm going through the Trail series, that sounded better in my head. Anyways, my point is that I have to take my comeuppance on this one. It's underwhelming, and honestly, I wouldn't say it flat out sucks, but admittedly, with how much the rest of the game nails it with very few exceptions. Lunatics, IV pods. It's stun rods, and that stupid water pump section notwithstanding, it's kind of... It makes sense that people would find that one so disappointing. So, I at least can understand where the problem lies with that, which resulted in a plus 24. So, that actually is an inaccurate number. My math is terribad. It's 34 minus 9, so it's actually should be 25. Huh. Well, what do you know? We raised the score by up to 64 points. Yay! This is still an interesting game that it's a good game, and I recommend playing it. But I feel like you should pace it. But honestly, you do need to understand that this is a 14-year-old game, and that there's going to be some not great... there's not going to be some not great ideas present. So, that is something to keep in mind as you're going through this game. So, regardless of any of that, Batman Arkham Asylum. This is a short one, but I knew this one would be short. In fact, it's funny because I'm actually going to... because I've actually got another one to record. And that one's probably going to be just as, if not even more short, because, of course, right? So, shrug. Now, if you'll excuse me, well, you know what? Screw it. This song's got a few minutes left. There's one thing I will say right here at the end of this. I still say this game's worth a playthrough. It's still worth going back to. You can see why everybody clamored to this thing back in the day, right? Because it had been a drought of Batman games at that point. And true, this one is not reaching either the story or the gameplay heights of, say, a Trails game or even FF7 or anything like that. But this is still good. There is a reason why this game changed the very landscape of licensed games in general, because it was right around this time where consumers were finally stopping it, where unless you were buying a Wii game, unless your grandparents were buying a Wii game, well, most of the time licensed games were not developers needed to up their game, is what I'm trying to say, right? They needed to do better. They needed to finally do better and not drop the ball, right? Because if they drop the ball, well, the problem with a lot of this is there have been a lot of bad Batman games, right? But there's also been some good ones. I can name several good Batman games, right? And not just, well, mostly the ones you're thinking of, right? The Sunsoft NES 89 film tie-in, right? The Konami beat 'em up tie-in to Batman Returns. But I also think of games like The Adventures of Batman and Robin on the Super Nintendo. And games like that. Batman has had some good games. And I think Arkham Asylum is kind of a poster child for it. So that's it. That is my rating of Arkham Asylum. Next up, well, I gotta go pay a childhood. I gotta go pay a childhood favorite of mine a visit. Blue Wolf Alex, the Lore Walker, signing out. Have a good one. Later.